Hello, Spice Rack! Congratulations! If you are subscribed to me, you're now a part of the Spice Rack. I know, I'm super clever. But if you're not subscribed to me, hi, my name is Lacey Cinnamon, and for the past 3 years, I've been working nonstop on a comic called The Broken World. And now it is finished. I can finally show you all the process of how we got here today, to the end of season 1. So get comfortable, grab some snacks, or put me on in the background of whatever you're doing. I'm gonna be talking a lot, so yeah. I like doing that. Before we begin, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I created an Eeveelution comic called The Broken World. If you like Eeveelution Squad, or even White Rose, you might vibe with this. The basic premise is an evil guy named Oliver is kidnapping Eevees to evolve different Eevees into the 10 Pokemon types Game Freak hasn't created yet, told from the perspective of the Pokemon. This video has major spoilers, so I suggest you go watch the whole series, then come back so I can dry your tears. Second disclaimer, and this is very important, you all know this. I'm a professional artist. I am not a professional comic book writer or creator. What does that mean? I'm completely self-taught. I've struggled through trial and error to actually create this thing, and I do things very differently from other people when it comes to creating, illustrating, writing, and directing this comic series. I'm not here to tell you how to create a comic book or a comic dub. I'm simply here to tell you how I personally did it. This video will discuss the process of how and what I used to create this comic, and it'll show you little Easter eggs that you might have missed in the actual episodes. Okay, with all that out of the way, everyone ready? Here we go. Let's go all the way back to 6th grade. Scary times, I know, bear with me. The year was 2019. I absolutely loved comic books. Whatever I could get my hands on, I would read. I'd even make my own little stories in my notebooks. I eventually discovered online comic books, and the first one I was introduced to is, you guessed it, Eeveelution Squad, Comic Dub Edition. I was obsessed. I wasn't super into Pokemon, but this pushed me over the edge. The voice actors, the funny writing, I loved it so much. After finishing everything that was available at the time, it inspired me to write my own comic. So I did. I grabbed my notebook and I started creating a comic called, you guessed it, Choices. You got that right. Right. I was your typical doodle in your notebook kid, because, well, that was really the only thing I was good at. And being inspired by Eeveelution Squad, whenever I had time in class, I would write my own little comic in my notebook. I still have it with me. This comic is about an Eevee family who gets kidnapped for the purpose of creating one new Eeveelution made out of the original 8 types merged together, inspired by Shiny Art's rendition of it. It never got finished, but you can see the similarities already. Then COVID hit, and I lost the comic. Or did I? A few years later, it was 2023, freshman year of high school. I was 14 years old at the time, and I had created a few comics since 6th grade, all unfinished except one. One random day, I discovered an old notebook of mine that inside was a little comic I made back in 6th grade. Choices. Looking over it again and revisiting Eeveelution Squad, it reignited that little child in me to create a comic like this again. So I did. This comic doesn't have a name, but let me see if this sounds familiar. The prologue. An Eevee is asleep until he hears a knock at the door. In comes a very poorly drawn Litten. The Eevee is stolen. House is on fire. Chapter begins. 2 Eevees are having a fight with each other. One named Max and the other named Millie. Max wins and Millie resents him. Max is trying to comfort her, but she's not having it. Millie sees some birds and attacks them to prove that she is in fact strong. Doesn't work. She's taken, and he's taken. Chapter 2. Millie is greeted by a cat named Mittens, and he wants to help her. But Sarah and Rachel are there, an Espeon and an Umbreon. There's also an Ice Stone in the back of the truck, just because. They fight, she evolves into a Glaceon, yada yada, Millie ends up escaping. Chapter 3 at the Adoption Center. This is where we meet Felix and Amber. Oliver comes in and purchases 3 Eevees and heads out. Sarah and Rachel are in the back of the truck to convince these three to evolve. Millie somehow just knew they were there and magically is here now, and it's a big fight. As the truck thing, I don't know, goes by, we meet Lydia and Landon. They just somehow know that Pokemon need help, and they show up, and everyone's already evolved. They of course need Lydia to evolve into a Sylveon, so they kill Landon and throw him over a bridge. Lydia evolves, and I never finished it. Okay, wow, that's a lot of similarities and a lot of really bad writing. Nevertheless, I really loved what I had semi-created, so much so that I had the idea to make it official. By this point, I had been doing digital art since 2021, so why not bring it to life? And I began to think that I could have voice actors, like Eeveelution Squad, but could I? I went home, sat down, and contemplated about my grand idea. I went back and looked at all of my old comics that I've created. Not one of them was finished. Well, except... But that took me a whole year, and not for a lot of content. Besides, I lost motivation and completely forgot about it for like a summer. Could I even complete this huge project if I've never been consistent to finish one? Pause. Here's something that you need to know about me. I am a theater kid. And all throughout COVID, I was auditioning left and right for voice acting roles, and I had gotten to be a part of a lot of projects. Here's the problem, and I'm sure many of you can relate. Every time I got casted, immediately after the project was canceled. I'm convinced I'm cursed. I can't even count on my fingers how many projects I was a part of. It was so many. I couldn't understand it at the time. Obviously, now that I have done the project, I understand, but I digress. I was frustrated and annoyed. Granted, most auditions I could audition for, because of my age, were made by people my age. So thinking about this project with the idea of inviting voice actors to be a part of it, I didn't want to make a promise to them only to cancel it a month later. Could I trust myself? Could they trust me? I kept thinking about this as I stared at my unfinished comics. I went to bed that night as the thought of making this comic kept grabbing at me, so much so that I did the only thing that I knew how to do when I have a problem. I put it in front of God and prayed about it. It's pressing on me so much, and if this is a part of your plan, then bless it. Walk hand in hand with me, please. The next morning, I was fired up. It felt right. A passion for it only grew, one that I've never experienced before. I feel God calling me to this project. And I went to school, and instead of learning, in my free time, all I did was write. Taking what I had created in my notebook, I created a script for my new comic that was going to be called, drumroll please, The Broken World. And it was history from there. Great, I had motivation and the power to create this comic, but I had to lay some ground rules for myself. If you're taking anything away from this video, it's this. So listen closely. I need to put in effort. I can't just hand it all to God and say, yep, you got that. So it was important for me to keep myself accountable and do the work to create the final product. God will take care of the rest. It's a team effort. Discipline. That's what's going to get me farther than my own legs can take me. But how do you do that when you're your own boss? Man, that's a tongue twister. How do I stay motivated to actually create? Here's what helped me personally. Number 1, I picked a few times a day to work on the comic. For me, it was in the morning, lunch, and before I go to bed. There are plenty of breaks in between, so I don't overwork myself. And with school in the way, it was a nice stress reliever. For making a comic, school is stressful, but whatever. Number 2, figuring out how to get motivated again. This is huge. If you're an artist or a creator, or honestly anything you do, you know how easy it is to lose motivation. And this is one of the causes of projects getting canceled. So I created a mental list. Why did I decide to start this project? Who am I doing it for? And what's the goal? Allow me to elaborate. Each one of these bullet points is something I can go back to remind myself why I had the idea in the first place and regain motivation when I lose it. So starting with, why did I decide to start this project? Well, in all honesty, when I sat down to write the script, I had one person in mind, my brother Caleb. I was close with my oldest and youngest brother, but me and Caleb butted heads a lot. So I created a character specifically for him, Scythe, who was voiced by Caleb. It's his favorite Pokemon, and he was half theater kid. I thought it would be a great way to bond. I decided to start this project so that he and I could grow closer as siblings and hopefully become friends before I go to college. I also decided to start this project because I believe that God had a bigger purpose in mind for this than just being a comic online. At the time, I had no idea what he would do with it other than, well, I mean, how far does a fan-made Pokemon comic really go? And boy did he surprise me, but we'll get to that later. I decided to start this project because I want to be a part of another kid's childhood. Maybe inspire them. Maybe this story could be nostalgic like Eeveelution Squad was for me. Except I hope kids aren't too young. I mean, have you seen the series? Who am I doing this for? Well, the other point explains it. I'm doing this to glorify the Lord and to get closer with Caleb. But I'm also doing this for the voice actors. I know how devastating it can be when you get really involved with a project, only for the creator to quit. So the first thing I told them when they were casted was that I was not going to cancel this project no matter what. If life gets in the way, if I lose motivation, or my iPad decides to explode, it's gonna get finished. Please don't let that happen. What's the goal? The goal is to finish the entire season. This has been my biggest promise to you all. I know the fear. It has happened so much that trust has been broken between audience and creator. I know a bunch of you have been begging me to keep going throughout the season. I hear you and I understand. I also want to make a point that if you are a person who had to cancel a project, I'm not trying to bash you in any way. Now I understand, now that I'm finished, how hard it is to keep a project going. It's so hard to maintain anything these days. People are hard to work with, life's unfair, you've got bigger, cooler ideas. Whatever the reason is, I understand. And it sucks that life is a reality. But just so you know, you fueled this fire, and it wasn't for nothing. So thank you. I just ask that you don't lose your creativity. This list is a great foundation to come back to personally. It really helps when it reminds me of the purpose of my creation. It motivates me again, especially when I take this list and show it to someone else. Like, for example, I'll be having a difficult time finding motivation to draw backgrounds looking at you episode 4. And I'll just mosey downstairs and my mom will be cooking and we'll get into a conversation about my series. And we'll talk about voice actors or where I'm at with the current episode. And eventually, after a bit of conversation, I'll pull out the list and explain why it's important to me to follow the list. She'll give me some insight and I'll walk away feeling recharged. Goodness. It isn't validation that gives me battery. It's simply talking about it with someone else who will listen and cares. Reminding me why I love it so much. Love you, Mom. It doesn't work every time because, burnout exists. But just reminding yourself why you love what you created is a great confidence boost. Even when it feels like no one else cares. So, the foundation was set. And granted, this was pre-production. Before pre-production. Like, there's pre-production and post-production, in the middle production. This is before all of that. We'll call it pre-mental production. Yeah. Anyway, got to script writing. How do you write a script? Good question. Glad you asked. I don't know. I didn't know. So I did what I do best. I taught myself. I was recreating a story I drew in my notebook, so I had a direction I wanted to go, but what's the ending? Well, there you go! A great place to start. The end! What do I mean? When you know the ending to your story, you can pinpoint plot points you need to get to this point. For reference, the male Eevees need to evolve eventually. Okay, so in order for them to evolve, we need a reason why. Well, Oliver needs money and is fixing the extinction. Oh, but if there's an extinction happening, then something must be causing the extinction. Forests are being torn up, which affects other people's lives, which causes some of our characters to get put into the adoption center, who then get picked up by Oliver to bring to a lab to evolve the male Eevees. See, and that's just one plot strand. Don't make too many though, you'll confuse your audience. From there, you can build your characters. Give them all of an objective or a reason why, where they're at. I mainly focused on Millie's and Zara's storyline, then figured out how to connect all the rest of the characters in some way that makes sense. An easy example is Oliver kidnapping them all, but my all-time favorite connection is between Zara and Claire. It now connects Zara to the ruins, and Scythe already met Claire as well, and it's just so impactful, and I love it so much. When writing the script, I had made the decision to have my cast mostly female, you know, like the main characters. It's not because I have anything against guys, but from my prior knowledge of voice acting, it was mostly girls auditioning. I was 14 at the time as well, so just chill. But also, from the amount of time set in the series, in order for anything to work, it had to be the female Eevees. So why the girls and not the guys? Is because of this website. When I was doing research, I found that female Eevees are not as common as males, and yeah, that basically drove the story home. I wrote the entire season in 2 months with no prior writing experience, which is really clear through episodes 1 through 4. Jeez, man. Over the course of the series, I had kept in mind that what I originally wrote in the script does not have to be written in stone, which I'll talk about all the changes I made later in this video. But just know that a lot of things were changed from the original script. I was really happy about it in October of 2022. So much so that I sent out a voice call for voice actors. Voice acting. How in the world do you convince someone to join your project? You kidnap them, obviously. All jokes aside, I had no idea what I was doing on all fronts. I know how to say words. I know the words I want other people to say when they're reading the script, but I don't know how to direct people to say the words correctly. How do you tell someone to stop losing their British accent? Caleb, how does one direct? Are we seeing a theme here? Self-taught! It's so beautiful. I knew I wanted voice actors, and seeing projects on YouTube, I knew it was possible, so I'm following in the footsteps of other comics and projects. But I don't really know how to get VAs or entice people to join a project, even with no followers. And again, I didn't know how to edit videos. Oh my gosh. So the first video I ever made looked like this. Wow, you feel so motivated to join this project, right? Well, somehow it worked. And from there, we made a better casting call and a trailer, and I was blown away from the response. 1,000 people saw it in like a week, and I got a bunch of voice actors auditioning. It was unreal, genuinely. And soon we had a team. This is an example of God's part in the project, and the way that he continued to pour out into this team as well is so cool. So I had my script, and I had my voice actors. All that was left was to go on a run? So January of 2023, a couple of weeks before I turned 15, me and my family went on a vacation to Disney. And if you don't know, in the wintertime, they have special races that go from a range from a mile to a full marathon. And this was the year I ran my very first half marathon. I'm so proud of myself. With my big brother, Isaac. Isaac had no idea about this project that I was cooking up. None of my family knew, except, well, Caleb, obviously. We were talking about the upcoming gear, and, well, I felt the urge to tell him. He didn't take it well, in a good way. Like, he was excited to know, but mad I didn't tell him at first. And after our half marathon was over, he told Mom and Dad. The reason I didn't tell my family was because I wasn't sure what they were gonna think. I mean, it's Pokemon. I felt embarrassed. Why do I bring all this up? I bring it up because they have been my biggest cheerleaders. Sure, they didn't understand what the heck a Pikachu was, but they were still excited that I was excited. I mean, like I said, I bring up my mental list to them and they pour into me and fill me up. Why didn't you tell us? I was going to, just not until season 1 was over. You what? It has been 3 years and I just finished. So I have a script, I have voice actors, and I got a hype team. Hooray! Now for the part that I have a bit more experience in, the actual art. I use Procreate for the comic and Procreate Dreams for the animations and bloopers and stuff. And after the script was created, I created the characters. Many design choices were made, and a million things got changed. There were votes on character designs, and people offered to do character designs, and I got a chance to, ask people to do the designs. It was so much fun and really collaborative, and I'm really thankful. Now for the actual comic. This process is simple, I guess, if, you're doing one. We'll just take it one page at a time. I decide what I want the box to look like, throw in a sketch, throw in line art, then the words, then color, then special effects, and I always do eyes last. It just ties it all together. How the comic is formatted is not like a comic at all, and this is a mistake on my part, but for most of the episodes, for no reason whatsoever, I crammed so many panels into one small page. This is the better way to do it, but I wasn't making a book, at least in its formatting. This is still a book, obviously. It wasn't designed to be seen as a comic, and I know a lot of people want to read it as a comic, and also I'm trying to figure out where to post it. I'm trying to create a website, and it's a lot. Webtoon isn't working with me, so just be patient with me. It's gonna be hard to read, and I apologize for that. Learn from my mistakes. Can you even tell which panel goes first? This whole comic is structured like a TV series, not so much like a comic book. So I let myself go on a bit of these panels. Over the years and more recently, it's gotten a little bit better. You can see everything a bit clearly, but don't do this. Give your art space to breathe. Anyway, after a chapter/episode is done, I'll make a thumbnail and it's ready for editing. Okay, so I almost knew nothing about editing. The only thing I knew was what Isaac, my older brother, had told me. How long to stay on the shot, what camera angles I should be thinking about, don't make the music too loud. He's a filmmaker and he's awesome. Go check him out. He's currently writing his own series, but like a real one, like to put on the TV kind. It's called Soul Reader. Really cool. Anyway, so thanks to my older brother with knowledge that I was given. The first episode wasn't bad. Oh, who am I kidding? For the first try, it wasn't awful, but at least put a headphone warning, lady. Oh my gosh. Episode 1 haunts my nightmares. I used iMovie to edit. It's free. It has a couple of okay features, but at the end, it is my mortal enemy. Mortal enemy. It had deleted all of my work 10 times over the course of these 5 episodes. I am not kidding. It got so bad that I tried a different app called Splice, and it was a way better app, but when I went to export episode 2, mind you, I was already done with the episode. It had taken me such a long time to edit it too. I had to pay a monthly subscription to get all my work off of there. And then, you couldn't have told me that before I did anything? I don't know, open the app and it say, hey, you're gonna have to pay a monthly subscription. No, it does that after you're done with your... Not only that, but because I didn't want to pay, I was, trying to screen record it, but they put a big fat watermark over it. Do not use this app whatsoever. It is just so hard to work with. You couldn't zoom out, and if you needed to shorten a clip, it would move all the voice lines with it, so you have to move them all back. It was so annoying. So I got the free trial, and I got my episode off, and then I burned the subscription. Evil! I had to go back to iMovie, and episode 5 looks so crappy because after I did a scene, I had to export it and then re-import it onto a different project file so that it wouldn't delete all my work. This is what the scene is supposed to look like. It made it so gross. Around episode 6, I had finally asked my dad for a better editing, and we got Final Cut Pro. This is the expensive option, but a trustworthy and wonderful to work with. Foreshadowing? I wrote the script back in January of this year. Little did I know, Final Cut Pro failed me too. They all failed me. Okay, anyway, sorry, back to the thing. When I first used it, for some weird reason, it tinted all of my work. Again, look at the difference. And because this program was new for the iPad version of it, nowhere did it tell me how to fix this. So what? Again, I had to find out for myself. Episode 6, Part 1, Part 2, and 7 all look like this. And I tried to fix it in the bloopers and ew. But finally I found the setting to fix it, and all my problems of editing had been smooth sailing from here. If you have the same problem as me, here's how to fix it. Episode 12 and 13. Ah, jeez, I thought my worst nightmares were over. But it turns out when you don't have storage on your iPad, the whole thing shuts down. Editing these two at once, the lag was unbearable, and tried to delete, I literally almost deleted everything off of my iPad for it to work, and it still did not work. Not only that, but when exporting episode 13, it came out all grainy, and I spent I think I spent 10 hours trying to export it off. If you were there for the premiere was late because I could not get it off of Final Cut Pro. Oh my gosh, I thought my troubles of editing were over, but no, here we are. Anyway, pre, during, and post-production over the course of 3 years right here. And I'm about to go into more detail in a second, but I want to take a moment and talk about something. Multiple times, and you will likely hear it again later, I've continued to bring up that I am self-taught in everything in this project. This isn't a flex or me boasting. I bring it up because it's a perfect example of you can literally do anything you set your mind to. Seriously, don't let not knowing something stop you from doing whatever you want to do. We are now in a world where a quick internet search and boom, you have your answer. What's even cooler is if you don't know how to do something, boom! People who do get to be a part of the project. You make a new friend, and it's all hunky-dory. I'm saying it's possible, and go for it. So now that you know how the episodes were made, let's talk about the actual episodes in a speed run because this is taking so long. So welcome to Everything You Missed / Didn't Know or See in the Episodes of The Broken World. It's a working title. This story has gone through a lot of changes, and I can't help but put a little bit of Easter eggs all throughout. This was my quick review and behind the scenes of each episode. In no way is this series perfect. I have many thoughts on my own writing, but I'm still really proud of it. So let's just start with the basics. A couple of facts of concept art and characters. So let's go back to the original comic where the idea originated from. Millie's name was supposed to be spelled Millie. Lucas' original name was Max. Zara never existed, and when she did, she was supposed to be a good guy, like on that side. And then she went through multiple different scar changes. Rachel was always Rachel, but she switched personalities with Belle. She was the quote-unquote nice character out of the two, and Belle was the mean sister. Belle's original name was Sarah. Aubrey's original name was Amber. Faye's original name was Julia. Piper was always Piper, but Faye and Piper were supposed to be sisters. Scythe was originally named Mittens. Both Scythe and Cat were never supposed to be shinies. I changed it because Scythe needed a different look from Ryan, and it's just another reason for Oliver to have him as his favorite. Cat also needed to stand out from the rest of the others because it got confusing fast. Ryan and Scythe were never supposed to be brothers, and Ryan never existed. It wasn't until I wrote episode 13 when I realized that I needed a reason for Scythe not to follow Zara, and then Ryan was born! Boom. Oliver was never supposed to be named. He was just supposed to be Man, but that got changed in episode 3 because he needed to be memorable. Kat was originally named Lydia, and Drax was Landon. The Ruins originally never existed. Faye was originally gonna be a mute character, but I changed it to a deaf one because it helps with her character arc, but it was also based off of a friend of mine that I had a while back. Kat was supposed to have all of her legs, but I changed it because I love to torture my characters. That's a joke. I was just a dramatic 14-year-old, I guess. Kat was always planned to go berserk. Drax originally thrown off of bridge. Things got flip-flopped around and it was Scythe instead. And now here's something that I want to talk about. Because all throughout the series, as episodes kept coming out, a lot of people were guessing what the characters would evolve into. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people got it right. A lot of people got it wrong. Whatever. But people were, I wouldn't say mad, but they were expecting, just using Millie as an example, They were expecting Millie to evolve into a Sylveon because of her friendship with her brother, Lucas. They're brother and sister, by the way. A lot of people were like, oh, she should have been a Sylveon. She should have been a Sylveon. Yeah, she was. Of course she was. 100% she was supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure she wanted that too. But that's kind of the whole point. That's kind of the whole point of this entire series. The Eeveelution squad was such a big hit that so many people recreated it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of made everybody fall into this, each Eeveelution is supposed to have one character or archetype. Jolteon is supposed to be the fast guy, the cool guy. Glaceon's supposed to be sassy, and gosh, Umbreon is supposed to be the dark, moody character, and Espeon's supposed to be so nice, and goodness, Sylveon is supposed to be like the quirky character, you know? Like, that is what everybody expected, because that's what is, you know, popular. But when making this series, number one, I wanted to, differentiate myself from all of the comics. Also, like, no disrespect to the people who, recreated the Eeveelution squad. Like, we all got inspired. Like, don't feel bad about that. But I wanted, when creating this series, I wanted the unexpected to happen. Of course, Millie was supposed to be a Sylveon, but she didn't get a choice. It was forced upon her to be a Glaceon. Same with everybody else. Like, and that's also why I didn't give them, like, names that made you allude to what they could possibly evolve into. You know, like this simple, like, oh, this character's name is Frosty, or, like, Ember. Just unclear of what they were going to evolve into, because it happened against their will. That's one of my favorite parts about writing this series, is I wanted the unexpected to happen, because it was unexpected. None of the characters wanted or planned for, the machine to happen to them. I digress. Anyway, walking into episode 1. Gosh, the audio problems, but we live. A thing that nobody noticed is that they were going to evolve into is actually eluded. If you look at their beds, Millie is blue, but like the icy blue, and his is, orange. Hey look, it's Faye. Oliver's van! Mom of the Year award goes to her! Also, going back to the prologue, before I knew how I wanted the Berserk Pokemon and the mind-controlled Pokemon to look, this was the result of that. He's only supposed to have red eyes without pupils. Same with the Pidgeotos, just red eyes without pupils. They're under mind control. Also, I could not figure out how I wanted Oliver to look. I mean, if you just look at I just was so indecisive on Oliver. Yeah, these guys are on autopilot, and their eyes are only supposed to be red. Scythe doesn't have a body. Get Gale doing her job. This guy is so angry at her because she's pressing all of the buttons. Oliver's number is 8435. Look, I made him ginger. I just could not figure out what I wanted. Her spirit Pokemon is Furfrou, and his is Scythe. All of the new characters coming soon. www.adoptioncenter/poke/slay.com. In this panel, you can actually see Rachel eavesdropping. Just in the back. Hey, look, it's Lola. Wait, Lola? Man, I forgot how much I love Felix. Hey, look, it's Isaac. It's me in my track uniform. Look, it's Super Gaming Texan. I finally decided what Oliver should look like. If you look at it, you should put a ring on it. It's Zara's tail. This entire scene was improv. It's the Pokeball that Oliver got from the adoption center, and it's in the trash can. Ah, Darkrai. Fun fact about the characters. So, they're brothers, obviously. Ryan is the older one, but the way that you can tell which one of them is older is on their tails. Ryan has one little strip of red, and Scythe has two. indicating that he is second. Look in the background is indicating that the Pokemon shortage has been going on for so long because this kid is getting this Oddage a collar to be a part of his team. They all have collars. You can see a little bit of red in Oliver's eyes. And the reason that you can't see it as much on him as you can Zara later is because he's human. And, you know, Pokemon are magical. Another improv line. Brain vomit, I love you so much. Just the sheer Britishness. It's so beautiful. Because of the editing softwares that I've used in the past, there's a lot of details that kind of get missed, at least from what I did and what I drew and what's on my actual comic page. There's a reflection of her Eevee self. Like, this has been rolling through her mind for a very long time. Oliver fighting with the ref is so funny. Aubrey already is showing her claustrophobia, kind of, when she is out of the van and then immediately into a building. And while that's not claustrophobic, she's been inside for most of her life, and she gets to be outside for like a second. That's why she's so excited and then gets really bummed out when they walk in. Izzy, or Faye's name originally being Izzy, and then her being okay with being called Faye. It'll be explored more in season 2. 135 is the Pokédex index number for Jolteon. I thought it was too short. I thought the episode was too short, and I lengthened it, and now it feels long. I also purposely placed the evolution stones in front of the wrong Eevee, but I did that to kind of throw people off because a bunch of people were guessing. What I love about Cat and Drax is that their color palettes are flopped. Okay, a little thing to point out is this little group of people or Pokemon with bandanas and stuff is just some of the cast self-insert. I'm the Meloetta because that was my favorite Pokemon for the longest time. Claire, my beloved! She is totally not talking about herself right now. Don't come to the Hopin'! Also, fun fact about Belle, and just what I was doing with her character, is her little hair floof. When she is underneath the shadow of Rachel, her top ring on her head gets covered either completely or just is covered in general. And then later you'll see when she actually like stands up for herself, you can see her ring a lot more clearer or better. I love how Belle thinks that siblings never get along, because just side note, whenever I tell people I have 3 brothers, they're like, oh my gosh, that must be so awful. And it's like, no. If you want it enough and both parties work hard enough, it is possible. Digressing there. But I love how Belle can't wrap around her head. And I love Millie's response of, I guess I don't live by your rules. Just basically punching into society of like, this is expected for siblings to hate each other, and yet we don't. Isaac and Jacob cameo. Millie, in all fairness, your childhood has been great. Zara is supposed to hold Millie and then just blast her into the rock. Zara's strength is not Cat's strength. And by this point, episode 6, I knew exactly where I wanted to go with the story. And so I wanted to tone down Zara's strength. Obviously, she's scary here. She makes sudden movements. She's done this for a while. But it's not to the extreme that Cat is. And so just really toning down her intensity to make Cat's feel more intense, if that makes any sense. The foreshadowing in this episode is just glorious. Zara was not expecting that. Zara is yelling at Scythe. She's like, I have 1,000 things to do. She's mirroring Oliver and his actions. She is like fully becoming what Oliver is. To clear this up, and I know now, that shadow balls do nothing to Eevees. It says no effect. But the sheer fact that it blasted her into a wall, it was the impact with the wall that made her health go down. I just want to make that clear, because I got yelled at, like, shadow balls are supposed to do nothing. Mom's signature. I based this house off of my grandma's house. Oh, it's Chuck from National Geographic. Jirachi. Oh, look, it's the entire cast, and hooded foliage, and my mom. Warrior, did I seriously do that? Warrior Litten. Also, this girl in the background, she is from the musical, oh my gosh, the music video that I made for, Isaac's Christmas present, Fluttery. He made an original song for a short film, and he made a short film musical. And unfortunately, he made too many songs because the time limit was 5 minutes, and so he had to cut a song, and that was Fluttery, and I animated Fluttery, and it's great and groovy and all that is glory, whatever. But this is the girl from that music video. If you saw it, you know, because I know a lot of you didn't see it, because if it's not Pokemon, you won't watch it, whatever. Who said that? Oh my gosh. And now I'm high-fiving Hooded Privilege in the background. It's Ash Ketchup from Pallet Town Pokeballs at this camp that the Pokeball shortage wasn't a problem 3 years ago. If Drax didn't go through what he would have gone through, he would have been a Jolteon 3 years ago. Look at all the trees. Also, I don't know if anybody noticed, but there's a road here. The road cuts off. There is a, I don't know if you could see it, but there's a river in the background. And then later, when they're running, they both fall conveniently into this hole, and like, you could see where the ruins was before the whole deforestation happened. 'Tis only but a flesh wound. His glasses are already a little bit cracked. Drex, did you know that cracked glass is a death hazard? Just look in the background of this panel. Just look. 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 This line carries a lot of weight. Immediately after Zara has this battle, she's completely, her color is desaturated. A lot. So if you look at this panel, and then you look at this panel, because of having that battle, and, we learn later that the person who is mind controlling has to give up their energy to make the whole thing happen. Okay, so this entire last scene was changed. Originally, just stick with me here, because it's my 14-year-old brain, okay? You wanna walk with me? I was gonna have Zara try to make Drax confess that he likes Cat in like a love interest kind of a way. And number one, that's cringe. And number two, I have a more impactful moment later in mind, and this isn't gonna cut it. Right here, right now, where we barely like know the characters. I mean, we know them, but like, you really gotta. He gets to get killed first before you're like, oh, I think I like this guy. This tree made by a lovely angel girl is probably like a perfect representation of what they're trying to do. She did a great job. Guys. So, there was supposed to be a post-credit scene here, but I cut it. So here it is. I'm gonna do some voice acting work for you. Are you ready? How do I do a British accent? British accent. He wouldn't give up on me. We've been through so much. Rachel doesn't know what she's talking about. Oliver wouldn't risk my life like all those other Eeveelutions. I haven't wasted my life on him. I haven't. Where are those Eevees? I know, great, I know. should play Zara now, fire everybody. In fact, I'll play Oliver, and I'll give me an Oscar. I'm just so amazing. Look at you, look, in the background, look, it's Max's house. It's a boy one with Millie. This has so much deep meaning. Oh my, what a sentence to say. Reddit, don't come after me. Apparently I'm on Reddit because of this, because of, leave me alone, Reddit, I don't want it. It's Faye, and this character, his name's called Max. He becomes the flying type Eeveelution later, but they're just walking together now to kind of like hint towards that. I'm just gonna say this now before season 2 ever drops. No one is safe from death. Look, she's protecting him. Poor Belle just doesn't know what to do. I also love Zara is controlling Ryan. She's using Ryan to attack Scythe, especially after their little conflict. Talking about the credits here. This entire season, the credits have looked something like this. Does this look familiar to anybody? Anybody? Okay, so now look at this. So then when we go to this, we can kind of pinpoint that back to this moment where she is now arrived here. Not arrived, she's already been here because everybody has a mind space. It makes you wonder what this series is really about if the credits and everything is lining up with certain properties. Does everybody see where my brain is going and how I intended this to look? There is a deleted thumbnail for this. And I like this one a lot better. Episode 9, before episode 10, is just my absolute favorite. And this sentence right here, this is so weighted, and he could be talking about a lot of different things here. I bursted my eardrums while recording Cat's lines. Right after she eats the berry, she her color finally returns after all of these episodes since Aubrey, Faye, and Piper evolved. And just, you know, this is so mean of him. Oh, that's all she wants. And this just, I break. My heart breaks for her. Amazoon. Look, it's Jolteon from Team 5. If you want another series that is also completely finished, go check out Team 5 and just Citrus. Yippee! This Mimikyu is a Ditto. Human form of Zara from the one blooper thing. That's Gale, guys. It's humanoid version of Belle. So is Scythe. Zara is struggling to walk because she's just has been born. Fun detail just everywhere. This is 5 years ago? Yes, 5 years ago. Everyone has Pokeballs. Adopt a pal! Look, it's John from White Rose, and I put a white rose in his mouth. Also, another great ongoing comic series. Go check out Cobra and his other comic series, Toxic. Because not enough people know about it, and it's making me mad. Wanna be friends? Extending out his paw is such a beautiful contrast to earlier when Aubrey was doing the same thing. And then a beautiful contrast to the end. It's just like, I'm so happy. Chuck spray painted graffiti on it. But also, it's Clef and Guitarra from award-winning short film picked. Jaden Animations and her favorite Pokemon, Blaziken. My brother Isaac. He's currently in college, and when I was working on this, he happened to be home for like a second. He was like, I need to put some lore in here. And I looked at him and I was like, what? And so he proceeded to take 30 minutes on a separate different canvas, making this wanted poster so that I could put it on the Broken World. No, there is no fletchling wanted dead or alive. Or is there? Hey guys, Avaricious is not a real last name, but it is in this universe, and guess what it means? money. What a joy to know that Zara knows how to use charm. He only congratulates Scythe. Oliver is looking down at the prize money. He's very excited about it. It's a entire dream sequence that she's going through. Not once does she have scars, and neither does Kat in her little dream sequence. And the reason that I chose to do this is not because I forgot the scars. It's because she doesn't want to have the scars. And is trying to imagine herself without it. And so she's purposely putting that part of her away. Oh my gosh, it's been 3 hours. No one's gonna watch this video. That's the day she went bald. Bella's evolved here. But if you look really, really deep in the background, you can see Faye and the Snivy's tail. My art style upgraded, but so did this woman. Confession. A lot of things were changed in this episode. Number 1, the crowded head full of people. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was only supposed to be Zara talking to her younger version of herself. Why did I change it? Because I figured out where I wanted the series to go. After I rewrote the in the mind at the end here was gonna work, I originally wasn't gonna have a conversation between Millie and Zara. So it would have ended just like this.
If you were to die, nobody would even know you're gone.
Can't do anything.
How depressing is that? It was just gonna end on that. Episode 10 already destroyed so many people. So to have it just end without any prior conversation, I think it would have actually killed people. Because there's 2-month wait in between episodes, but yeah, so hooray for changing that. I thought that this line was funny because it can indicate 2 different things. Of 1, they both have trouble sleeping, but 2, Zara is the reason that they both can't sleep. All of the grandmas out there, I sincerely apologize for using this word. So, in episode 13 in the epilogue where the funny little shadow thing follows, the cast. We see him in this episode. Can you spot the scary shadow? And poor Faye is traumatized of fire. There's a couple of deleted scenes in here. So I'm gonna give it to you now. Kind of like how Sylveon's ribbons can expand, so can his wings. Episode 12, Insanity, is the same font, I guess, from that old Eeveelution animation thing that we all probably shouldn't have grown up with, but we did. She doesn't realize that she evolved. This is where I absolutely love the character acting, is that as soon as Vaporeon touches the water, it just disappears. It's just this one is more subtle because it's like, you can see everybody, but just knowing who Vaporeon is. She's supposed to disappear in the water, and so it's just another, like, hey, she lost her powers without saying it, because you can see her. 134 is Vaporeon's number in the Pokédex. To all of the people who keep yelling at me for using the same moveset over and over again, here you are, disarming voice. I am so mad, though, because when I put in all of the frames to edit, it rounded around to like 230 frames for only 10 minutes. I'm so sad. This is another impromptu line that I thought was funny, so I just threw it in. So remember the wanted poster where Isaac was like, I just gotta add something here again? Well, it was over the summer when I was making episode 12 and 13, and I happened to be working on this Millie scene, and Isaac, of course, just stole my iPad and was like, here we go. Anyway, here in the the debris, I guess, is Susie Rules, because we played Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 over the summer. And then here is Isaac's signature. No one at all would have ever seen that because it looks beautifully into the thing. You wouldn't even know, but that's the Isaac William Cinnamon is what that is. Oliver was supposed to die in episode 12, and then 13 was them going home and stuff. The sand attack comes back. Yes, it was purposed for something, and it's great, and yeah! Among Us. To all of the beautiful grandmas out there, I apologize. His flames change colors based on what he's feeling, and there's like certain colors that it won't change into. But also, this is really cool because it's a shiny, and he's such a cool shiny. Faye is terrified. Remember the shadow at the end of the epilogue? We talked about it previously, but you can see him following them this entire time. These two seem familiar. They are from this comic right here. Hee. And oh, what's that? What's that? Peek back here in the back. What could that be? Could that be a goose flavored duck? But that's not. I guess we'll have to see where that leads later. She doesn't know Zara's name. Belle doesn't even glow in the dark. This entire conversation is basically the first conversation in episode 1, but flipped around. New stakes have happened, but it is the same conversation of just with the words switched around. Look, it's my brother on Wave TV. Oliver's being taken away. There is Oliver's car pulled up. So whose car really was it? And she has a gun. Welcome, Jirachi, 1 month away. Hey, look, it's Lola. Wait, Lola! Guys, look, it's the Chuck plush, and we should only look at the Chuck plush. That is not official, nor is a thing. Nah, I'm joking. Yeah, that's a StarEevee plush. Go buy it, go support her. She also has makeup on. His eyes are purple! But let's talk about the song. Okay, so this song, at the end of the credits, it's original, written by me. I've never written a song before, so in the middle of my junior year, which was earlier this year, I began to figure out how to write lyrics without music, and I ended up doing it on my school computer. The first draft of the song was not the most lighthearted. It was definitely way darker than the official one that came out. So much so that I got called to my counselor's office. The Word document was flagged as a quote-unquote note that made administrators concerned about me. So I had to explain to my counselor that it was a song and not a note. But because I don't know how to talk to adults, I began to cry, which was not very convincing. I was in fact fine, like completely fine, but I'm just sitting here trying to explain to her that it's for a Pokemon series, and how do you make your counselor believe that? I don't know. Anyway, she ended up calling my mom. My mom already knew about my series and already knew I was making a song, and she was like, yeah, no, that's great. It's whatever. And my counselor was desperately trying to get my mom to say some encouraging words to me, but my mom knew I was completely fine. And so she eventually, at the end of the conversation, the counselor was like, is there anything you would like to say to your daughter? My mom sat there in silence and then was like, you're awesome, and hung up. And then I had to proceed to sit there while we talked. I'm fine. It was... Anyway, I'm in love with the song, and what's cool about it is it tells the whole story, but in song form. A bunch of you, when the music video, quote-unquote, came out, a lot of you pointed out that it is the title of... some of the lyrics are the titles of the episodes, and I was over the moon that people picked that up. It is a new beginning to a new day, bumpy roads, the feelings called trapped, Could there be perhaps a disconnect? Can we end up restarting? I'm scared of ruining things. It's the power of these stones, then broken promises, then broken glass, broken deals, brokenness, obviously the broken world. I wrote this song before I had the last 2 episodes out, and originally they were just gonna have the titles be The Broken World Part 1, 2, and 3 as their titles, but I ended up changing it last minute, so those 2 don't have their title in the song lyrics, but episode 12 is already a reference anyway, so it's fine. My brother Isaac did the music for me, and some cool things that he did musical wise was for the first 2 choruses of the song, the monsters inside. He distorts my voice to sound all monster-like, which I thought was really cool. He had ideas to whisper into the mic for parts like this. And then a jump scare of screams of "Save Us." It was just, it's a perfect song for the series. It just screams season 1 and season 2. I just can't get over it. This song took from March to August to create, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out. So there you have it. There is the series. What I really love about this series, it just screams Lacey Cinnamon. Wow, that's a lot of words I just said, and all when I was very sick. And even though I showed you all of the great stuff, I'm gonna be completely honest with you and not sugarcoat it. This was unbelievably hard. Oh my gosh. I am my own boss, so I have to hold myself accountable, which can lead to the usual, oh, I'll get to that later. Not to mention all of the technical problems with editing and the art that I hadn't even mentioned. Not only that, but remember the discipline part of my checklist of the morning, lunch, and night? Well, my state decided it was a great idea to make phones illegal in school, so that takes a good chunk out of my day. So that means earlier mornings and later nights, messing up with my sleep schedule, and when I'm working on other projects, I have to work around everything so that I can get the things that are due in on time. Oh, it was so exhausting. Every episode had problems left and right. In fact, I don't think there was one episode that went smoothly throughout the entire process. I hate episode 11 with a passion because when rewriting it, I was going through the most stressful time of my life, and it was awful, and it just vomited onto this episode's writing. With episode 4, I went 2 months without touching it because I couldn't bring myself to do the coloring of these stupid backgrounds. Episode 12 and 13, I went a month and a half trying to finish the line art before sending my voice actors the script because I was afraid of repeating episode 11. And this was all during exam season of school. Being a director to a bunch of people isn't easy either. Every episode had voice acting issues. I wasn't taking care of myself, not to mention the lag on my iPad when I was trying to edit. There is so much more I hadn't mentioned, and I haven't even reached the tip of the iceberg of how hard this series was to make, because life happens, and also because I can't remember it all. I'm doing this all by myself, legit, all of it, except spelling. I can't. Thank you, Alex Gaming. This was hard, but it's a hard that I really enjoyed. I love being able to do it by myself, and I'm not complaining. I choose not to ask for help when it comes to this stuff. It's normal for the mess to happen. There's stuff that I can't control, and that's okay. It took a lot of mental strength for me to get out of my beds on days I couldn't bring myself to draw. Hard deciding if I actually liked what I was creating. Does it make sense to someone who doesn't have my mind? And the hours that I poured into it, the sleepless nights working on 5 projects at once. Some days it was easier, most days not so much. And I'm looking at you right now saying that it is normal for any project that you do. I'm not saying this to scare you off. These things are bound to happen. But if you love what you're doing, it's not at all bad. And besides, I walked into this knowing this stuff can happen. That's why I made my mental list. Speaking of my list, let's see if we can check some things off. Why did I decide to start this project? Well, becoming friends with my brother was a big part of it. And, well...
Eevee. I know I didn't do that. I want to be the fairy best, like no one ever was.
You have a little demon.
Oh my gosh, what is he doing?
It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend.
I can check this one off the list. I mean, I hope I can. I hope it's not a, yeah, definitely girlfriend kind of a thing. I mean, we really connected, and I really got a chance to pour into him as a sister, and hopefully that can stay when I eventually run off to college. Not only that, but I got to invite my whole family to be a part of this project. I also started this series because it's what I felt God needed me to do. It was all a part of His plan. And well, it has helped me with scholarships. It's given me life experience that I've already put into action in the real world. It's created this community where we can encourage each other, and we've had a couple of church nights with the cast who don't know Jesus. Not forcing it down anybody's throats or anything, but just talking and hanging out. It's brought people together who will be lifelong friends after this. And while the actual story of the broken world isn't Christian based, if you look hard enough, you can find Jesus anywhere, really. Placing this project on the foundation of Christ has kept it going farther than it was ever supposed to go. I don't know why, and I will never know why or what God's true purpose for this project is, but just watching it expand and create ripples for the little pieces I get to see, wow. Again, who am I doing this for bounces off of point number 1, but we haven't talked about the voice actors much yet. Or you guys, the audience. I've told you all countless times that this series, no matter what, is going to be finished. And I hope that trust has been set so that when future projects come along, you can relax and know that it will eventually get to the platform. And I hope I created a safe space for my voice actors. What's the goal? Check, check, checkity check! Boom, baby, it's finished! Woo! In this very long rant, I name-dropped a bunch of comics or series, and they're all going to be linked to the description below, and I highly recommend that you check out everybody, support everybody, because we can't do this without support and friends, and yeah, so, yeah, and if I mention your favorite comic book person or creator, just let them know that I see them too. Hello. Please don't kill me. I'm sorry, this is awkward. So now what? Season 2? Season 2 sneak peek? Not quite yet. To keep the promise going of Season 1 finishing, I've worked really hard on this project non-stop for the past 3 years of making it. The only times I had a break was Christmas break and when I was under ER watch. Don't ask. I'm exhausted. So what's next? How long do you have to wait? All valid questions. If you've been paying attention, there's a little goose named Chuck running around my YouTube channel. And well, me and my co-writer Isaac Cinnamon are creating a new comic book that is going to be a choose your own adventure with this little guy right here, which will make its way onto YouTube and hopefully make it into an actual book. So I know a bunch of you have been asking how you can support me. Maybe I'll have a fully published comic book in the near future, and that would be fantastic. Anyway, if you don't know what a choose your own adventure is, please go look it up. My best example that I can probably give you is Markiplier. I don't know if you know this, but making a comic takes a long time. So on my break from the broken world, I'm going to be putting together this amazing full-length choose your own adventure, like Markiplier, length long, if you catch my drift. Granted, I love this series as we speak while working on Chuck. I think I have 4 episodes drafted right now. We're in the we're in the script writing stage. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to be writing season 2 as I'm working on Chuck. After the adventure is posted, count your days because the Broken World season 2 will come back, and most likely a call for voice actors will be announced. If you're nervous on me bailing on you, you can always go to the Discord server. It's mainly for the Broken World, and while I'm working on Chuck, I'll post updates on both season 2 and Chuck. Or you can follow my Instagram to see that I'm alive. I'm more active over there. I post random artworks and then, my life, obviously. No, this is not a face reveal. I've been very open about my face. So yeah, feel free to follow me. If you have any additional questions about me or my projects, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll try to get to them all. Sorry if I can't. The Broken World will come back for a season 2. It will. Trust me. I cannot tell you how much I have been dying to just go at it again. But I have to give myself a break. And I also have to finish writing the script, which is very important because it'll, that's where the story goes. You know what? Let's make a deal. If this video gets 1 million likes, I will drop season 2 tomorrow. I'm joking. Or am I? I just need y'all to understand this. I love this series so much, and, I'm actually dying to get back to it. So please don't worry about me bailing on you. It will not leave my mind until episode 1 of season 2 comes out again. So to leave you off, I just want to encourage you all. If you have a project idea, go for it. It doesn't matter who's watching. If it brings you joy, do it. You're not too young or too old to start. Trust me. Take it from a senior in high school who started this as a middle schooler. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to make a comic or animated series, go do it. If you want to start a business, make a movie, help animals, save people, create a video game, whatever it is, try. It's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be so worth it. Seriously, it could change your life and many others around you. Thank you for watching my series, and thank you for watching this very long rant. If you haven't seen The Broken World and this was very enticing to you, I recommend it. Not because it's a fantabulous story, but I recommend it because maybe it might inspire you. Who knows? I can't wait to do this again whenever season 2 wraps up. Cheers to a lot more years of hard work and creativity. Remember that you all are so deeply loved and adored. And truly, the Broken World was the friends we made along the way. Catch you on the flip side. Bye!